Hello, welcome back to the Music Majors Club Unpacked. We're at episode 4. Episode 4. Holy cow. Who would have thought we'd make it this far? My name is Jesse. I'll be your host of the show. Welcome back. In breaking the fourth wall here, this is the first podcast episode I'm filming since I started releasing episodes of the show. So the beauty of the magic of video editing. Woo. So even though I was continuing to post content, I hadn't actually filmed anything since I started. I filmed those kind of back-to-back, like batch filming, really getting behind the scenes here, breaking that fourth wall. So it's not like I set all this up and just move on with my life. I tried to do, as much as I can with it. So yeah, this is the first time I've been back filming since I started posting. And all that to say, this is the first time I can say this, like, on the show while posting and while recording. Like, thank you so much for listening. I know I say that at the end, and I've said that before, but I should never stop saying thank you, right? None of us should really ever not be thankful or grateful for things, but thank you for listening. The reaction, or the response, has been so nice. I really am thankful that I have such a supportive group of friends and family and random people who are listening. Like, thank you for listening. It's been really, really cool. And like the specifics behind what people are noticing or appreciating or calling out, like the style, the aesthetic, the content, my voice, like all those specifics are just really, really cool to hear, especially because like those are not things that I always thought that I could do, like my own self-doubt or my own insecurity. Like, I just never even liked the sound of my voice. I didn't think this was something that I could do, So I don't know. It's really, really cool to be here and to be doing this. So thank you. We're on episode 4. We made it. Woo! And check this out, okay? If you're watching, once again, come on over to our visuals and see. I have this iconic shirt that is my bestie over at We Book Club. Her mom's birthday. We had a birthday party for her, and her siblings made this iconic shirt that we all wore for her. Terry. To describe it, I mean, it's indescribable. It's 3 iconic photos of her over the years, and this like hilariously iconic font and stars and stuff. It's great. And I wear that proudly. And I wear that for today's episode because today's episode is a little bit random, okay? It's a little random. It's not a specific music topic. I don't want to be locked into one type of content that I'm creating because that can get boring, not only for the creator, but for the listener. So I'm going to be mixing things up. Today's content will have music in it, of course, but I'm just going to talk about some other things too, like this past fall and Halloween by the very end. So it is a little bit random. I will say that. I will be honest with you. The roadmap is a little bit all over the place, but that can be maybe a fun version of some of the content that we're going to have. Also, it took me forever to get today started on the pod, actually recording. I got everything all set up. I got ready. I got, everything going, which takes some time, right? I've already said, like, this doesn't just happen. This is like, it is a process, and it's just me. I don't have a team, obviously. Like, it's just me doing all of this, me and my cat, Spooky. Hello, shout out. So this doesn't just happen, like, quickly. I got everything all set up. I'm ready. I'm on camera here and got the mic. Tell me how the neighborhood lawn service just pops up out of nowhere. They're just trimming and going off on all the trees outside. I'm like, are you kidding me? The whole morning I didn't hear a peep outside. And now they were going for it. So maybe I'll include some behind the scenes footage of the lawn service because I was sitting here ready to go. I start recording and then they just start going off. And you know what? Honestly, it is what it is. Like, I'm in a house. I'm not in a studio. I'm not in a soundproof booth. Like, it is what it is. If you hear things going by, whatever. Like, it is what it is. I'm sure I hope that the editing I do takes enough away of the surround sound, but like I can't control the air conditioning, okay? I can't control, well, I guess I can control the air conditioning, but I need the air conditioning. So things outside, I don't know. It is what it is. Anyways, so fall is kind of, I feel like we're in like the middle of fall now. We're getting into, the holiday season. It's not that cold here in Florida, which is very sad because I love the cold. But fall for music, segueing back to music here, saw a lot of successful albums. We saw a lot of fun music that came out. 1989, Taylor's version released. I finally got my physical copy. I collect a lot of vinyl of artists that I really, really love. So I've collected as much Taylor Swift vinyl or physical copies as I can. So I finally got my record. It took so long. Sorry, Taylor Swift team, Taylor Nation, I'm sorry. But I didn't think I was going to get it. Like, I just got it. It just finally shipped. So whatever, it's all good. I get it. It's a popular album. She's a popular gal, but I finally received it, so that's exciting. I got the blue color variant. And we are going to talk a little bit about 1989, but if you don't know already, Taylor Swift is re-recording all of her music to reclaim her ownership of her music. I'm not going to get to all of the specifics behind it. There's a lot of content already out there that exists explaining all of that, but when Taylor Swift really lost like her masters and the right ownership to her music, she went out and decided to re-record it, which also shout out to Kelly Clarkson, because Kelly Clarkson was one of the first ones to say that Taylor Swift should just re-record all of her music, and she was like, I'd buy it, I just to support the cause of what this is, because she lost just her ownership and her rights to her own music. So Kelly Clarkson was like, I would buy it just to support the cause, and you should include like some special like little things, like some special incentives to get people to really be excited about like something that's new. And she paved the way for what this is. Of course, artists have always re-recorded music. Taylor Swift is not the first person to re-record her own music. I'm not saying that she's the very first person to do it, and Kelly Clarkson was the first to think about it, but Taylor Swift has been like the most successful one, I mean, at least that I know of, or at least in our time, to do this. So successfully too that now a lot of labels are changing their rules, sadly, to prohibit their artists from the Taylor Swift effect, they're calling it. So like, you have to be with the label for, a certain amount of years, or the record has to exist for a certain amount of years, like 3 to 5 or like 5 to 10, I think is what it is now, before artists can re-record their music. That is crazy. Taylor re-recording her music, very iconic, very cool. 1989. This is the first one that she has almost everything re-recorded. All of her original music that she didn't have the rights to has been re-recorded, except for 2 more. So she still has Reputation to re-record, and Taylor Swift, which is also called Debut, to re-record, which is amazing because the internet is saying all she has left to do is to reclaim her name, Taylor Swift, Debut, and her reputation. She's so smart. Where was I going with this? Oh, so 1989 is the first re-record that I have noticed a very significant difference in the actual re-record itself. A lot of the re-records have been very similar to the original song, which is totally fine. The whole concept is just that she's re-releasing it so that it's under her name, it's under her rights. But a lot of the actual songs now, or at least on 1989 specifically, have sounded different. Her voice specifically has always sounded different in all of the re-records so far. Like she's just sounded better. She's sounded cleaner. Her voice has just improved and grown so much. And I'm still a new Taylor Swift fan. And I don't even want to say like a fake fan, but because I haven't been a Taylor Swift fan the whole time. I, of course, knew like her big songs. I remember when Fearless came out. I remember when 1989 came out. And I remember like having a favorite song from those albums. Like I remembered like Red. Like I remembered loving the song Red on the Red album. And I remember like enjoying Blank Space when 1989 came out. I loved Style when Style came out. Reputation. I enjoyed a lot of Reputation, but point being here, I wasn't really a true Swiftie until recently. And the biggest era of mine that got me into Taylor was during the pandemic and listening to Folklore and Evermore, which are like her folk albums that are a little bit more like sad music. Like they're a lot, I don't know, they're a lot more like emo or sad. I don't know. So it's kind of ironic because that's not usually the style of music that I listen to. But when Folklore debuted, I was very much invested. And then Evermore released, and I was like, oh yeah, like I guess I'm a Swiftie now. So all that being said, the re-release of 1989 is the first album that I've noticed a significant difference in as far as what it actually sounds like. A lot of the vocals have improved and changed over the re-records, but the actual songs themselves, they do sound like better. Most of them sound better. There's a lot of controversy about what people prefer as better or consider better. Like the one song I will say that I'm not, and it might be like a controversial, like you're for it or you're against it, but Style specifically definitely sounds different. And it's just something about the way that it's mixed, the way that the instruments are utilized. It does still sound like cleaner, and it sounds brighter, and it sounds like more crisp, but something about the original, I don't know. I do enjoy both, but something about the original just sounds different. It does. And somebody was saying to me recently that no matter what version of a song you listen to, if that's like your favorite song, no matter what artist or what genre, like if you've heard that song so many times, your brain just knows the intricacies of that song. Like it knows what to expect. It knows, and those are all things that are so heavily documented in your brain that if you hear it different, like especially when you hear something live, like your brain is used to hearing it on the record, like the original way that it was recorded. And usually, like most artists, have a live version of a song that has differences and is supposed to be different. And sometimes a live version could be better than a song, than an original song. So the concept of like re-recording, like especially if a specific song is your favorite song, it's definitely not going to be the exact same with a re-record because pieces are going to be different unless you're using like the exact same track or whatever, which totally defeats the purpose of re-recording, you know? But yeah, your ear is just expecting to hear certain things, and when you don't hear them, you will have some form of reaction to it, whether you think it's better or whether you think that it's worse, you know? So I think Style specifically on this record on 1989 was the one that people were like, I don't know, they seemed, not everybody seemed to enjoy it. And I will say it does sound different. The specific part of Style that sounds different on Taylor's version, I always listen for it. The crash just before the chorus, there's a crash, and in the original version it's like ka, it like echoes, and in Taylor's version it just goes ka, and then it goes into the chorus. You got that, James. You know, it's just before that. That's where that's like a really tangible piece. There are obviously so many other differences in the song. That's like a really minuscule, minute detail. But I say that specifically for the maybe average listener that is because so many people are like, what's the difference? It sounds the same to me, you know, like it's the same song. So if you're not really listening, or maybe you didn't know the original version, the new versions might sound the exact same because a lot of them are really similar. So I give that specific detail as an identifier if you're trying to find the differences between songs and see or hear how they're different. That's a really good example. Otherwise, 1989's vault tracks are probably the best vault tracks she's released so far. Hot take, maybe my opinion. I mean, it is my opinion. Maybe not everyone's opinion, I should say. But the vault tracks on this album, whew, best ones. I'll go through them really quickly just to talk about each vault track. I guess this episode should just be called 1989 Unpacked, you know, but I don't know. I'm talking about a little bit of everything here. So the first vault track, Slut, which is in quotes, Slut, which we all were expecting to be, it could actually probably have gone either way. It could have been like a banger. Like I felt like Slut was going to have the energy and the vibe of Karma. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because they're both one word and I just translated it over that way. But I thought Slut was going to be a banger, and it is not. It's not totally super slow. It still has a little bit of of motion in it, but it's definitely a more somber song. And I love just the concept of what I was seeing. The reason that she released it with that verbiage, like kind of crude verbiage, is that that's a word that she was called for so long. And now the concept of like, if you were to Google her name with that word, it would be like old headlines and all of these other, dates she's been on and whatever, like the rumor sites and the gossip that people used to say about her in 1989 era, leading into Reputation era, where she's like, okay, like forget this, I'm taking back my reputation kind of thing, So now her name, if you were to Google her name with that word, it will be her freaking song. It'll be it'll be like her reputation, like it all connects. So I think I can really appreciate that. And I love that it's in quotes, like that's what you called me, but it wasn't what it's like, this is just what I was being called, slut, like quotes. Love it. Then Say Don't Go, definitely a banger. The irony of the juxtaposition with very sad lyrics and a very upbeat tempo. Say Don't Go, definitely a bop. I love in Say Don't Go the say, don't go. That kind of call and response. I think it's really fun. I just think it sounds really cool. I love how that's orchestrated. Okay, Now That We Don't Talk, another good one. This isn't my favorite. Now That We Don't Talk still is good. I mean, I almost hate knowing who a song is about, because then it's like all I can think about during the listen. So all I feel like I think about is specifically like Harry Styles, like Now That We Don't Talk, if that's who it's actually about. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know the full, I don't know the full tea, but it just, if that's who it was about, like Now That We Don't Talk, and then that's like who I'm going to just keep thinking about is Harry, that's a fun one. I think that's more, I think I would just describe that more as a fun song. Like I do enjoy it. And then Suburban Legends, I do enjoy. Suburban Legends is in and out. That is, I think I saw somewhere that Suburban Legends is her shortest song ever in her whole discography. It is. It just starts, we know people, like it just jumps right in. Suburban Legends does have one of my favorite lyrics in it though. I broke my own heart because you were too polite to do it. What? Like that is very sad. And I love it. Okay, obviously leading up to the number one Hot 100 Billboard song when the album released, no notes, no questions, no qualms. Is It Over Now? Absolute banger. Is It Over Now? When I first listened to it, I got so many different vibes of other like album references. There's a like very Midnights situation at the beginning with that labyrinth sound, and like of course the entire song sounds like Out of the Woods, like, and there's Out of the Woods references with the white snow and the blood on the snow, which is the Out of the Woods conversation, and the crash. But Is It Over Now? Absolutely one of my favorite songs, probably from Taylor Swift. Like that instantly was up there into the category of one of my favorite songs by her. It's so good. And then she just played it in Argentina and she mixed it with Out of the Woods. So she confirmed, like, yeah, this is a reference to Out of the Woods. I did that, like so good, so clever, so smart. And it's just such a fun song. It's upbeat. It's and hey, here's this too. The bridge. You think I didn't see you? There were flashing lights. That is the bridge, right? And she is so smart that she knows her bridges are bangers. She put that bridge in the second verse, like the second verse plays out and then that's the bridge. Like she could have gone into the chorus like normal. Let's fast forward to, I was going to say flash forward. Let's fast forward to 300 awkward blind dates later. She put the bridge just before that. So we hear that bridge twice. Not only was it so good to hear it once, like where the actual bridge lies, but she just, It was so smart. I love it. I love it. I think that's such a clever idea. And I don't know if everybody realizes that, or maybe everybody does realize that, because that's like a really simple music thing to realize. But when I realized that after a couple of listens in, I'm like, oh, that's why this hits, because this is just another classic Taylor Swift bridge, and she played it for us twice. Anyways, the vault tracks, I gotta say, definitely my favorite vault tracks of Taylor so far. I really liked my favorite vault track otherwise that I can instantly think of, because honestly, I can't really remember a lot of the vault tracks from Fearless. I really enjoy my favorite vault track up until this point has been I Can See You on Speak Now. I mean, come on, another banger. That's why it's kind of ironic that Folklore and Evermore are my favorites, or like what got me into Taylor Swift, because they are obviously so much more somber and more folk and acoustic. And then like my favorite songs are some of these like more upbeat bangers. But you know what? Come on. She knows how to write a pop song. Like, she knows what she's doing. I Can See You was definitely my favorite vault track from Speak Now. And overall, that was my favorite vault track. But now my favorite vault track is definitely Is It Over Now? No questions. Like, no questions. All right. So all that being said, go stream 1989, Taylor's version. Like I mentioned, a lot of the songs have they sound different. They almost sound like they have upgrades. They sound like they are cleaned and polished, and most of them I really, really like that. The best, like, I feel like they got a facelift is how I'm describing it, is Out of the Woods. I think Out of the Woods just sounds so good. It sounds so clean, so crisp, so upgraded. Not only her voice, but the production. There's so many more like harmonies and vocals, and I just think Out of the Woods sounds like it got the best upgrade. Style is the one that I would say is my controversial one. I don't hate it, but I do almost think I like the original more. I'm just saying, I'm sorry. And then vault tracks overall, I mean, the best vault tracks of her re-records thus far. Gotta say it. It has to be said. So stay tuned for more Taylor Swift content coming up. I plan on doing another Taylor Swift episode. Like I mentioned at the beginning, this episode was not going to be just focused on one specific topic, even though I talked a lot about 1989, but stay tuned for a more specific Taylor Swift episode, because I mentioned at the beginning, in fall recap and in fall holidays, fall things, for Halloween, I had probably my favorite Halloween costume ever. I will share a photo, maybe on screen, and then certainly on my Instagram. And it kind of has a music reference, okay? There is a song that's very iconic to this Halloween costume and to this character. My friends and I all dressed up for Halloween. We always dress up for Halloween. We love spooky season. We love to go to horror nights and do all kinds of fun things. But and we always dress up for Halloween. We always have like a little costume party at my friend's house. But I decided to have my first quote unquote drag moment, and that was because I dressed as Mrs. Doubtfire. Boom! Insert photo here. This was a last minute sort of put together costume, because I didn't really know what else I was going to be. I had plans, actually, spoiler alert, I'll tell you, I had plans to be the main guy from Hocus Pocus. I don't even know what his name, Max from Hocus Pocus. And I was showing one of my friends the costume for it, and it was just like a brown jacket and a hat. And it was just not very specific. It really could be anybody. But I wanted to have, my original goal was to have Spooky, my cat, he's a little black cat, to have him in my costume, because Binks in Hocus Pocus is a little black cat. And I was like, oh, I could feature Spooky. Like I could have, a little costume with him. And that was my original idea, because I didn't have anything else in mind. And then when I was talking about it, it was not very specific at all. That could have been anybody. And so in last minute, with a week of Halloween, decided to do Euphegenia Doubtfire. And I've always loved Mrs. Doubtfire. This year specifically too, I've been quoting with my friends the whole time. That's part of the grand finale in Mrs. Doubtfire at the very end. She says, the whole time. It's very funny. It's very iconic. So the whole year, this year, I have been referencing that. And then my friend was like, you should just do that. You should just do Mrs. Doubtfire. And I was like, yeah, I should. I really should. And I pulled it off. I like to think I pulled it off. I mean, I don't want to, whatever. I mean, I will say I did my best. We went to a couple of costume parties actually on the night of Halloween, and one of them I actually won. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I think it was the vacuum that sold it. I mean, obviously, I looked good, but I had my other friends brought a vacuum, the same friends who gave me this iconic Little Shop of Horrors piece of merch, which again, if you're not watching, you're like, what the heck is he talking about? It's the little Venus flytrap Audrey 2, the little plant. It's just in a little planter. It's very cool, very on brand for me. They saw it at a Halloween at Spooky Empire, like a Halloween event, and they got it for me. It's so nice. Yeah, Justin and Desiree, they gave me their old vacuum, and it definitely sealed the deal. It definitely, it really made the costume. So shout out to them. Thank you. So yeah, Halloween was very good to me. I had a very good successful Halloween. Very much enjoyed. I'm very much ready for the holidays though. I'm ready for Christmas. I'm ready to deck the halls, do all that. So look forward to that. I definitely can do some pretty cool Christmas music episodes, maybe, maybe some Christmas content coming soon. We'll see. But in synopsis here, really eventful fall. We had all those things I just talked about. We had 1989 Taylor's version. We unpacked all of the 1989 content here today. Let me know your favorite vault track. I think that could be a cool discussion to have. Let me know if it was the same as mine or different, and why you liked yours better. And just as always, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and you too can become a music major. See you next time.